All right. Let's get everything set up here. Hello, Davis Aboag. Aboag. Not sure how to pronounce that. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're about to get started here. First off, for the very first viewers in here, just letting you know if you've got a topic that you want to talk about, if you've got a question that you want answered, that's what we do these live streams for. We talk about anything and everything. It doesn't always have to be gardening related. The whole point is that we just get this conversation going and flowing with you, the community, so that way you get to know me a little bit better and I get to know you a little bit better as well. I do have some viewers who, good, I pronounced it right. I do have some viewers who tune in for just about every video, and typically I have good conversations with them, but I wanted to expand that a little bit, which is why we started doing these live streams. I think they provide a valuable twist to the content that we provide on this channel. So in the past, we have talked about a little bit of everything. So don't be shy. If you've got any questions or comments, definitely put them in the chat. This week was a pretty light week as far as the gardens go. We've been super busy. You can probably tell, growing out a little bit. We have been very, very busy with work, with kids, with schedules. So I didn't have to do a whole lot in the garden. I definitely probably could have spent a little bit of time cleaning up some of our summer garden, but I'm not too worried about that because a lot of what we have left is either just ripening on the vine or it is going to stay there until we harvest the seeds for next year's garden. So specifically talking about harvesting seeds, we've got our beans, our bush beans, and our pole beans. Most of those have matured at this point, and what we left there, we're going to harvest for seeds. Tomatoes, we've got most of them out. I think they're still going to be producing for another few weeks for us. So we still get more tomatoes than we could even eat. Same with cucumbers, getting a ton of cucumbers still, but there is a lot of stuff that is just about to the end of the season. Onions, carrots, those all have to get harvested yet. We weren't able to do that. It's going to be a weekend project for us, harvesting those carrots. And we also need to talk about the onions that we grew as well. I feel like this table is too high up. Let me find a handle. There it is. Crank the handle. Make the table go down farther. There, that's better. All right. So we do have lots of stuff that we're going to catch up on over the weekend. I know that you understand what that's like to be very busy in the garden. And what I see very frequently, even in myself, is that late summer gardening can tend to become a little bit of a burden sometimes because of how busy we are just with the end of the summer. And while that can be hard to get away from, I have found that planting a new garden for the fall helps out a lot when running into that obstacle in the garden where you feel like you don't really want to grow anymore and it's just been harvest, weed, and then a little bit of fertilizing here and there, but that's really all you're doing at that point. If we plant a fall garden though, that starts to give us new life that we're expecting in the garden, something to look forward to. It's also a way to extend our season overall. A lot of people don't utilize the entire growing period that they have in their area correctly. In a lot of cases, I also get that maybe we don't have enough space to grow on several different beds throughout the season, in which case that would be difficult as well, because if you run out of space, your spring crops are not all going to be ready by the time that it is to plant your summer crops, and your summer crops aren't all going to be finished before you have to plant in your fall crops. So having a couple of beds that are kind of reserved for different seasons help out. So usually our spring crop beds will get rotated into our fall crop beds, and then our summer beds will just continue growing, and at the end of the season, that's it. We really only grow one crop in those summer beds for the most part. What I will do to extend my summer crops is, if I'm like pruning my tomatoes and I want to plant some more tomatoes, what I will do is propagate those, grow the tomatoes in one of my fall crop beds. That way I can continue growing that crop, that summer crop, along with the fall seedlings, because it's not going to cause an issue with those seedlings growing. And by the time the fall seedlings start to grow and mature a little bit more, what happens then is it's time for that summer crop to get chopped and dropped and tilled into the soil. So we really utilize our beds as much as we can. We always want to have stuff growing in there, being tilled in the top several inches of the soil, and a constant flow of organic material being transferred to and from that soil at all times is what we're trying to achieve. We also achieve that through bacteria and fungi, which is inoculated into the soil directly several times throughout the year, which helps keep those levels up. The bacteria and fungi can help feed the root base of our plant. Depending on what type of plant we're growing, they would be better acclimated to one or the other, or we should say like a specific ratio of bacteria to mycorrhizal fungi. If we have typically said and studied, if we have perennial plants, they are going to be doing much better with a high fungi content ratio in that soil compared to the bacteria weighted soil. But if you're growing annuals, they're trying to break down that stuff really quick. They're trying to grow fast. They're trying to establish themselves quick, and therefore require a more bacteria-dominated soil. So it's really interesting that we've got all these different systems working in place for us as well. We do that intentionally in our gardens. So we were talking about sizes of gardens and how it might be a little bit more restrictive for some people than others to grow all season long because of the space that they have. If whatever area you do have, I do recommend just trying to utilize as much space as you can for a garden. Something that helps out a lot of people if you're in a smaller lot and are able to. So, we're not talking you live in an apartment or something like this, but say if you have a 1/4 acre lot and you are worried about gardening on one side of your property because of the neighbors, or there's some kids that always get into the garden, whatever it might be. You could always put a fence around your garden to protect yourself from a lot of different things that could go wrong with your garden in a smaller area. That does help out, and it helps kind of seclude the space a little bit. So if we got a comment here, can you save seed from a partially rotted ripe tomato still on the vine? Absolutely, you can. I was planning on making a video. I talked about it in a garden tour, but I did not get to making the full-length video on this. But we had some tomatoes fully ripen in our garden last year, and we let them sit and let them rot away into the ground completely. And those seeds, coincidentally, they sprout this year. So we have tomato plants growing from seeds that were planted last year. So if you're growing an heirloom, that's a really cool thing, that you can kind of have self-sowing tomato plants. But in your case, yes, a partially rotted ripe tomato on the vine, totally fine to harvest those seeds out of. Hopefully you have an heirloom variety or a non-GMO variety that is going to stay true to seed. Otherwise, if you have different, some GMO varieties will not stay true to seed, and some of them will. So just do your research, whatever variety you have, hop on Google and research to see if it is one of those varieties or not. So Sundrop, thank you so much for tuning into the video tonight. I missed Thursday's live stream because, again, we were super busy. So we couldn't get to it. We kind of had to just take a little bit of time and relax, to be honest. So that's when I figured, well, today would be a great time to do that. It is a Friday. I'm not sure how many people will have tuned in tonight because of the time change and everything, or if this is better for others or not. I don't know. We're still trying to dial in when we can do these things on a consistent basis where it's going to be best for you as well. So if anybody's watching on replay or watching currently and they have a specific time that would work best for them, just let me know. If I see that something is weighted a little bit towards one side or the other, then we will see if we can make accommodations, because we're still trying to figure out now having a babysitter for the kid or something like that. Oh, Cherokee Purple. Awesome. Not sure if you're familiar, but we have lots of videos on the Cherokee Purple tomato. In fact, let's pop over here quick. I love the Cherokee Purple tomato, so let's just introduce some people to it right now. Let's check out our channel. See if we got some that pop up on results. These were made with Cherokee Purple tomatoes. These ones I had, these are some of the tomatoes that I let stay in the ground. So these are the ones that rotted into the ground and then the seeds germinated. Cherokee Purple, I believe. Those are them. This was on August 14th. So I have been saying, and a lot of others have been saying, that we're about 2 weeks behind in the current schedule. And I would kind of agree, because at this point, a lot of our trellis tomatoes were already done with, and we just had these ones that were laying on the ground that we documented and just let go crazy to see what would happen. But yeah, Cherokee Purple, love it. I'm sure I've got other videos. My seed starting videos are on Cherokee Purple. Right here, these were Cherokee Purple. A bunch of those were, and then some of my older videos that are about three or so years old. That was when we were first introduced to that tomato, and I have been growing it ever since with great results as well. Davis asks, which way is better to plant sunflowers, in a block like corn spaced 2 feet apart, or in a line? It depends on how many sunflowers are you talking about, Davis. Like, we're talking about hundreds or just a few sunflower plants. and also depends on what variety. Are we doing like a mammoth sunflower or a Pike's Peak or some sort of autumn sunflower that doesn't get as big? That would depend. But overall, what I would say to that question is it depends on, Davis, I'm assuming you're talking very large scale. If you're talking large scale, I don't know. I do mammoth. Um, what I would say though is if you're just planting these sunflowers in your backyard, what I like to do, I like to follow like the contour of whatever area I'm growing in, and I try and make it feel natural, kind of just randomly spaced after each row. I plant the sunflowers about 8 to 12 inches apart, sometimes more if they're larger varieties. But then, as far as the next row goes, if they're staggered or not, I really don't follow as much. Like, I don't think it matters. You could do whatever you want. Which way is better? I don't know. Does it make a difference? I don't think so, as long as they have a good amount of space between them. Then that's going to be the key. That is going to be the key. I hope you all had a great week so far. It looks like the markets are going up. We have the NASDAQ about 2% up. Dow and S&P are up about 2% as well. Cryptocurrency total market cap is up about 6.5%. Total market cap of everything. So I really don't know where we're going right now as far as stocks go. And when we look at where we should put our money, it's very hard to tell right now if we're about to see another 25 or 30% drop, like a final capitulation event, and then finally find some sort of a bottom in this market, or if right now if we see rates have a 50-point basis increase on, I think they're announcing it on the 13th. If we see a 50-point basis raise, then that would be good, because then at that point that would come in under projections. I believe about 80% of people right now project that it's going to be a 75 basis point increase. So if we saw a 50-point basis increase, that would very well give us some room to run. And at that point, we would see a reversal, hopefully, in the DXY, dollar index. And that would really, really give us the fuel that we need right now to reverse what's happening right now, because the trend is pretty strong. So we need a couple of significant events to line us up for the increase that so many people are looking for. Right now, whales of all kinds are moving a lot of money in the market, and that could mean a couple of different things. One, they're ready to make money, and they're kind of sick of just everything that's happening in the world and just trying to give this a little kick in the butt that it needs. Or two, we remain going up for the next month and a half, and then at that point we reverse back down and continue the trend. I don't know if any of you are into investing of any sort. I typically stay a little bit weighted towards the cryptocurrency side right now. I do only play the more safe bets. This is not financial advice whatsoever. The more safe bets, so we're talking the top 10. And even at those top 10, I typically only choose ones that are going to be a little bit less of those meme type tokens. So we're talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, XRP, stuff like Aave, Algorand. There's a lot of really cool projects in Cardano as well that are coming up. There's a new Vasil hard fork. This event is likely to take place within the next 15 days about. They're shooting for the 22nd, but I think it's going to be a little bit later than that. We have the Ethereum merge coming up, which is basically it's taking the Ethereum blockchain, and what it's doing is taking it from a proof of work algorithm to a proof of stake. So what that does is it transfers the power that is being taken to complete the blockchain code, essentially. That power is going to be taken away from miners and then given to stake pools instead. And so what these stake pools do, I'll continue. Got another question. Can you grow 2 different heirloom tomato plants in the same garden bed? Oh my gosh, yes you can. You can grow 12 different types of tomato plants in your garden bed. This year I grew 5 in our 4x8 garden bed, 5 different varieties in one, and then 2 different varieties in another that was also planted with bean plants. That's what we do. That's what you should do too. Definitely grow multiple types of plants, even intercrop with your tomatoes as well. So plant other things like marigolds, nasturtiums, beans, or even I've grown celery before, onions. You can grow that with tomatoes. So grow lots of stuff with that. What this event does, this Ethereum merge, is it. By the way, guys, if you've got questions, drop it in the chat. If you've got a topic to talk about, we're going to follow you in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rambling. Currently, we're talking about Cardano and Ethereum, altcoins, Polkadot, Ethereum merger that's coming up. Proof of stake then transfers that computing power into the stake pools. So what these pools do is they operate based off of a monetary pledge from the stakers given to the stake pools, and then the stake pools get rewarded for that, and hence the stakers would also get rewarded. I believe it starts at around like 4% APY, so it's nothing crazy, but it is enough to encourage somebody to stake their Ethereum. And with Ethereum going to proof of stake, the biggest thing that's been highlighted in the media is the amount of power that it's going to take to then change to a stake pool. It reduces its power input by, it's like 98.2% or something like that. It is extremely significant, especially when we see the government talking a little bit about power usage of Bitcoin. Now, I am very pro Bitcoin as well, but I do have some other altcoins which we could talk about maybe later, or if we get to it before any questions. I'll talk about why I think Cardano, Ethereum, and Polkadot are so powerful. Bitcoin, though, it's people say that it uses so much energy, but the amount of consumption, per the transaction volume. Mammoth, are the mammoth sunflowers growing large? Yes. The biggest one this year is like this big right now. So, Michael, thank you so much for tuning in. Biggest sunflower head's about right here. It's a double. So it was a flower that blossomed, got pollinated, and tried to form 2 heads. So pretty big. I'm excited to harvest that one. So while people say that Bitcoin uses a lot of energy, it's still very minuscule compared to the banking system. And while we have energy independence because basically we look at it as an autonomous organization. We want it as decentralized as possible. So people are choosing what to do with this. Davis, I'm going to continue planting sunflowers soon just for fun to practice my gardening skills. Awesome. Good job. But Easter is usually my real planting time. Yep. We plant a bit later than that. We usually plant those in, I would say, late May, sometimes up to like mid-June. You could even plant them into July where I'm at, and they would do just fine. Sunflower is great. It's good to see that you're growing your gardening skills as well. All right, so we talked about energy and stuff, and very minuscule. Working on basically, the whole point of it is that it's decentralized, right? So it is a bank driven by people and the people who have the money in said bank, right? That's all. It's a commodity that's traded among people. It should be able to be spent, given, sent, received freely as chosen without repercussions. That's what we're trying to do with the entire cryptocurrency movement. And what it actually means is banking the unbanked, giving people the power on their cell phone or a flash drive to transfer wealth and transfer money between each other, to build contracts with each other, to build businesses, to have these businesses ran in a manner where there's less third-party intermediaries between the people. It's a trustless system. So what that means is that I literally cannot trust that this is this person or this is this. It's like, I know that I need to know that there isn't going to be somebody checking on the other end. There isn't going to be something else besides the actual code in that smart contract or in that currency, whatever it might be. So there's nothing stopping it from flowing, and there's nothing saying when, where, and how it should get there when sent on the blockchain. So the power is extremely vast when it comes to the potential for our future as a governing society of people working together. I think that Web 3.0 could be one thing to set off a lot of more sequential future events that it's hopefully going to be completely enlightening. Sundrop, Davis, birds absolutely love eating those sunflower seeds during the winter. Yes, one of the greatest things about growing sunflowers is not only can you keep the seeds to grow yourself for next year, or if you're consuming the sunflower seeds or grilling them or giving them to the birds, they really, really need that protein, the crude protein, whatever is in the sunflower seed I don't know, I'm not a bird or seed expert. It provides them with some great nutrition during the winter months. Kevin D, thank you so much for tuning in. Seattle, Washington. Bought home, and it has a neglected apple tree approximately 12 feet tall that I am itching but nervous to prune. I am reading wait until late winter. Well, here's the true answer. You can prune that apple tree whenever you want to. All you have to do is make sure that you're pruning it in specific ways that could help you achieve your goal. So if it's got a lot of heavy pruning that needs to be done, then you should wait a little bit. But if you're it's only 12 feet tall, it doesn't seem like it should need too much unless it's been pruned in the past a lot, but just not recently. But if it's 12 feet tall and say you've got some of your sprouts that are growing, that grew this year, you can cut them all the way back. You can just take off a few feet of those. You can prune them to control the vigor of that tree, of that tree during that time period. So our summer pruning is to control vigor, and our winter pruning is to be used for shaping and constructing the tree. Jay, hearts, thank you. Love your stuff. I really appreciate it. We've got lots of it out there, and continue to make it every single week, every year for the rest of my life. So if you're doing a winter pruning, that's typically going to be a pruning that is heavier, brought back to bases, or say you are trying to redirect entire growth patterns of the tree. That's when you would do winter cutting. So it really depends on what your overall goal is for that. So Kevin, I hope I answered your question with that. The sunflowers have a very high fat content. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Michael, I wish I could make you a moderator. I'm sure there's some way I could. Michael, we got to talk about giving you moderator rights, because I really appreciate everything you do. Really do. All right. Let's get some more comments. If you've got anything you want to talk about, I won't bore you with my cryptocurrency stuff too much longer. I just think it has a lot of power, a lot of potential. So, our fall crops, much respect. Thank you for the content. Yes, you bet. Anytime. I do this for the viewers. I do this so people can learn all around the world, even when I am not there. That's the cool thing about the internet, and the cool thing about YouTube is it allows me to reach into your lives and make an impact of positive respects. Oh my gosh, I have to harvest our elderberries tomorrow too. I think I was talking about that on our last stream. A lot of yeah. So busy. So busy. So much stuff to do. Always busy. It seems like life is hard to find moments of like pure peace and serenity and love. Difficult. Because we've got all these things that we have to do. Gotta keep busy. That's what we've got to do. All searching for stuff. All looking for the next level. It's interesting. I've been rather emotional lately with music. Certain songs would just make me so sad, but happy that I'm sad, like that kind of sad. I do enjoy moments like that in a certain way. Like, it's not obviously not pleasurable to be sad, but emotions are good. Emotions are good. Sundrop up here in Ohio. Folklore says to heavy prune in months that have an R in them. Yes, January, February, March, April, September, October, November. Totally. December, because sap is down in those months. Correct. The folklore isn't expansive enough as to tell us what part of the world we're growing in. But obviously, if you're there in Ohio, that seems perfect. I do wish that we were able to do a little bit more outside for an extended period of time. So if we could get a growing season of like 9 months or something, That would be awesome. We do have plans to build or buy or purchase or get a grant for, or even sponsorship, or who knows what might happen. But we plan on getting greenhouses in the future, large ones. I do want to dig, if we have a property that has any sort of slope, like at all, if I get a, 5 or 10, a 10 degree grade or something, I plan on digging in a greenhouse. That way, hopefully if it lined up correctly, we could have it lengthwise going up to about 4 or 5 feet into the ground at the back of the greenhouse and then exposed in the front. What this does is the earth kind of acts as like a heat convection. And so if you got the window or door up front, it's kind of circulating that heat from the earth and giving you some nice, even warmth throughout that space, a lot better than it would have been if it was above ground. 9-month growing season would be awesome. There is a gentleman. Let's see. I don't know where. Let's pop on desktop real quick. It's always so weird to do the live streams without hearing myself on the outside because of these headphones. But let's see. Grows oranges in winter greenhouse. Oops, winter greenhouse. There's this guy right here. But this right here, greenhouse in the snow tour, I don't know if I can drop. Let's see. Let's get back over here. Sign into chat, whatever. I don't know why this is like this. There. Sorry. Okay. All right. Anyways, I think you get the point. Go to Abby Elder's channel, Greenhouse in the Snow Tour. Very cool how he does this. And this one, I wonder if this is a different. Yeah. So what he does is he pumps the air through this space. There. Right here. This whole space here is getting air pumped through it, through the earth, and he grows citrus in Nebraska. Can drop to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Record is negative 40 degrees. Earth's temperature is around 52 degrees. Yeah, so that could bring the base of that greenhouse up to about 52 degrees without any other additional inputs. And then we have the sun beating down into the space as well, raising the temperature, which it's so cool. It's so cool. I want one so bad. I need one. Jay, learning to grow plants has helped somewhat with my sadness. I'm sorry to hear you pain as you realize so much of it. Yeah, I feel like moments of sadness are times for us to try and reflect on the people around us, the events and experiences that we've had. It is important to focus on living in the now, like being in the terms of being present, but it's also very important to be reflecting very frequently. So times of reflection is definitely required to live a well-balanced life, and I think sadness is a big part of that. Especially if we're listening to music and we have an emotion that is triggered through that, that could be used as a tool to then advance your emotional state, your emotional well-being. But the whole trouble is that sometimes we're not able to separate it out. Sorry, I thought somebody's knocking on the door. Sometimes, people aren't able to separate that out and like compartmentalize what it actually means. So that makes it difficult. But Jay, I hope you do well in the future. I'm really glad that gardening has helped out. I do think that gardening is a very spiritual thing, something that is good for the mind. And I wish more people did it around the world. I really wish that there were more gardeners. If you have anything that you would like to talk about, everybody, please drop it in the chat. Questions, comments, and or just random topic ideas are all welcome. Boy, I need to shave. Gosh, this is bad. Yep. Let me know. Should shave? Not shave. I'm going to shave because it's too patchy. It's too patchy. I'm like, what is this? What is this? Oh, my goodness. Life is but a journey. A journey of ups and downs. Life is but a journey. So don't let it get you down. Like that. Just made that up on the spot. I'm so dumb. I mean to tell my wife more frequently that I'm a weirdo. I am. I'm a homeschooled weirdo. I went to an online virtual school for pretty much all of my high school. A lot of grade school as well, middle school. My mom taught us when we were younger. I think I went to like a Christian school when I was in like kindergarten, first grade maybe, and then went to a Lutheran school for like fifth and sixth grade. This year I planted a mammoth skyscraper and dwarf sunspot sunflowers. Ooh. If you put hair in the garden, it keeps most rodents away. Nice. That's a good tip. I assume the smell. I hope that works. I don't know if it does work. Probably does. I believe you. I do. Anyways, lots of like virtual school or homeschool for me. This guy right here. So I need to tell my wife more often. I'm not like other kids. I mean that satirically, in a way. Or do I? Please, somebody give us something to talk about. Please, comment. And sass. Oh. Great to find you live. You have so much going on, and I agree on focusing efforts. Your beard is fine. Crypto is attractive, but a lot of personal time and investment may be needed. Yeah. Nice. Thank you. I'm glad you caught the live stream. Yes, we've got a lot going on, and like I always say, this is a big picture thing when it comes to my life and my priorities. This channel is way up there. We've been doing it for 6.5 years, almost 7 years, and don't plan to stop ever. I do think if you are going to invest in cryptocurrency, you should do a lot of research on figuring out your specific investment strategy as far as what your purpose is, what you're trying to achieve, and also educating yourself clearly on how to perform a wallet transfer, how to send and receive. All of that stuff you should have down like the back of your hand before you think about actually putting a lot of money into it, because unfortunately we were talking earlier about how this is a trustless system. So you have to trust yourself. You are responsible. If I send 3,200 Ethereum somewhere, or if I send 50 Ethereum, or I send 5 Ethereum, if I send 1 Ethereum somewhere and it's the wrong place, doggone screwed up, Billy. Messed up this time. So don't want to be one of those people. There has been billions of dollars lost because of one's own error. It's like if you were trying to send a block of gold to somebody, or even if you were going to try and send a check to them, but this check was going through a portal, and if you didn't have the exact coordinates of where you were sending that to, it would not go there. Like, that's what would happen. That's exactly what you're doing if you don't know the ins and outs of the system. Sundrop. Question, since I just found your channel recently, what state do you live in? Sundrop, we are in Wisconsin. Good old state of Wisconsin. Southeastern Wisconsin, so we are in a zone 5B. It gets pretty cold here. Not as cold as most of the state because we're right by Lake Michigan. Typically, our summers are a little more timid, if you will. It's like we've got AC from the lake, and then our winters are also a little bit less severe because of the lake. So it kind of just smooths the weather out a little bit for us. So we typically can have a little bit longer of a growing season. Our spring planting is a little bit behind most other places if we're talking about a little bit further inland from Lake Michigan, because we warm up slower. So that's okay, though, because we can also grow pretty far into the winter as well. So it goes in both directions. Cyclical. Davis, I lived in South San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm on the live stream. San Francisco Bay. Wow. I've never been to California. I will one day, but our next trip is probably going to be to Maine. Why Maine? I don't know, because it's Maine. Except when lake effect hits in the winter, I'm by the Lake Erie about. Oh yeah, well, by Lake Erie, yeah, you'll definitely get a lot of that. Our lake effect snow is really not that much over here. We sometimes now have a whole season where we only have snow on the ground for maybe like 14, 15 days out of the winter. That's happened before. And so it's really not bad here. Not bad. Who knows what the climate's going to be in 50 years, so could be better, it could be worse for us. Who knows? Let's see. There's some way for this thing to do some sort of like wheel. Let's see. Let's just hit plus. Subscription goal. Set a goal for your viewers or your new friend. Spin the wheel. Here it is. What does this do? I want to know what this does. Don't know. It's just a wheel. Just a wheel. Manage spin wheel. The reason why I'm looking at this wheel is because remove. Is because we've got to do. It was supposed to be our 50,000 subscriber live video, me and my wife, but now it's going to be like the 60,000 subscriber. But we want to do a live video and do like a little bit of a giveaway of some sorts. We just got to figure out what it's going to be, but we got to make that video soon here. So if we did some sort of a live spin the wheel thing, that would be cool. Give away some like cuttings and stuff like that. I lived in Greenfield, Wisconsin during the winter years ago when my husband was doing contracting in that area. It was so cold. Yes. My 79 Camaro in ignition. Oh, he's probably typing more. 79 Camaro. Nice. Switch froze. Oh, yeah. I come from the center of the state. Marshfield area, and it very frequently got below zero, below -10, -15, cold. Lots of times where it's like, there's no way this vehicle is driving right now. It is a hunk of ice right now. Not happening. Sorry. Gonna bust a tie rod or something. I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. Anybody tuning in, I want to thank you so much for watching the live stream. Thank you so much for watching the channel, supporting the channel, whoever you are, whatever you do, however you do it. Thank you. Drop a question or comment in the chat, and we will elaborate on that. Or if you've got something that you want to talk about, just let us know, and we will chat. Whatever it might be. Gardening or not, Ripley answers all. You know, I don't know if I could ever buy a Camaro. I used to think they were pretty cool. But now my latest kick has been a Lincoln Continental. Somewhere between 61 and 64, I believe. Thank you for all the content you have that I can view. You're welcome. Speaking of content, and in SAS, I loved your experiments, and you did an honest review in that mini chainsaw one. Thank you. Yeah, I with that chainsaw, I had no idea how it was going to work, if we were going to figure out something weird with it or if it was going to be a straight shooter, whatever it might be. Turns out we found a couple of very interesting things with it through testing, which I'm so glad that we did everything that we did with it. And usually it's the same way with anything that I get on the channel, grow lights and all. Like I have given several companies a horrible review because their lights have shocked me, or they're just simply not working, not growing plants whatsoever, or there's some health hazard to it, like whatever it might be. I am very straightforward in these reviews. They are not paid reviews. Typically, companies will just send a product. I will tell them that is absolutely A-okay. I will do a video when I can get to it. But this will be a purely unbiased review. So whatever my experience is, that's what it is. So I've had companies send me stuff where you could tell it was like a return, and made that very clear in the video and was a little bit upset. But pieces missing and all that stuff, everything. I'm like, really? Regarding crypto NFTs, I was more hopeful until I watched The Line Goes Up regularly discovered. Never watched The Line Goes Up. And also with NFTs, JPEGs are not the future of NFTs or the NFT market. With that being said, my first new car was a 77 Ford LTD 2. That was a boat. Nice. The thing about NFTs is there's a huge market in collectible art. That's a fact. It's probably, I think it's in the trillions of dollars. And NFTs can fit that narrative in a way. It can help the functions of blockchain metaverses as well. It can make them a more fluid experience when done correctly. But the thing about like just JPEGs as NFTs, like just pictures, that's only going to be very profitable for a handful of people. A lot of others can make very, very bad decisions quite easily just based off of hype. The market can be manipulated in many different ways to both the upside and the downside. I will watch that video, The Line Goes Up. Seeing a lot of like little mixed reviews here. I'll check it out though. But the true purpose of NFTs in the future is going to be when they are attributed to both real world assets and or augmented reality assets, because then at that point it takes this blockchain NFT, whatever it might be based off of, if it's an L1 or an L2, L1s being like Ethereum, Cardano, L2s being like Polygon, Matic, so it's a layer 2. But whatever that NFT might be based on, that is when it's taking those assets and using them for something that we actually need every day, something that we're going to utilize, and something that actually has a driven purpose in our lives, besides just trying to either store wealth or make a lot of money very, very quickly through NFTs. If that's what your goal would be, that is kind of an ill-begotten hey, Sterling. Maybe ill-begotten at that point, if that's what people's goals are with NFTs. There's a larger purpose to them. And they will serve that larger purpose when the time comes. But right now, the infrastructure is being built for these. So if you imagine the NFT being tied to the asset, and then the blockchain is basically the bridge from that asset to your connected banking system. That's what the purpose would be. So if I've got some Ray-Ban glasses that have projectors in them, or perhaps Xbox or Microsoft or Meta, whatever, I'm sure most companies will, because a lot of tech companies today produce phones, right? So if they're producing phone and tech, they're also going to be producing different types of hardware and software for those devices. That's going to include AR glasses, goggles, whatever it might be. They're going to be small at some point, right? So these AR glasses are going to automatically display certain features if I want it to. I can toggle things on and off with them. I can totally change the look of my house based off of that AR that is being projected on the space. So the spaces around us will be tracked and scanned and can be then projected with an AR image or video or whatever. This is going to revolutionize spaces and how we experience them, because it takes a human element and brings it to the digital realm, which is weird, but it's inevitable. Lots of talking. Do you guys want to see my car? This is the car that I want. One of them. Well, let's go on Googs. Hey Googs. Again, here, let's just do this. This is my car. Oops, not classies. I really love the way this looks. Except for I don't want it lowered to the ground like that. But this car right here, this is beautiful. I want one so bad. I mean, just look at them. Also, some of the 40s, 50s, 60s were good for Continentals, but anything after that, I don't know. I don't know so much. But look at that. Woo! Beautiful cars. I wish I could have a collection of Continentals. There's a store of value right there. Rub that in the face of your NFT. Get one of those. Understand, with all investments, you have to be wise, smart. Do not over leverage yourself. I will say right now, keeps coming up today. Today's topic brought to you by. I'm going to see if I can do something real quick. Let's see. Did I change to? Yeah. Let's do something. Holy cow. First off, why is this black? Why is this? It should be black. Appearance. Background. No. Alright, whatever. Let's go on the weekly. Get some MA. Add in another one. Settings. We're going to do the 50 MA. And this one is going to be the 100 MA. Right? I don't know how to do this chart in log. Scales? No. Well, maybe I could I'll just do it this way. Whatever. Okay, so look at this, right? Everybody with me here? Y'all still with me? Let me go check back. Y'all still with me? Okay. Look at this. This is the 50 MA and the 100 MA. If I really wanted to get into it, I should change the colors. Let's do, this one is going to be blue. This one is going to be green. Whatever. Okay. All right. Back in the day, way back here, 2014. This isn't the logarithmic chart, so it's kind of difficult. What happens here, right? So we've got like some people, there's different terms for this, but this is a weekly moving average. So these are weekly bars on this thing. And this is a moving average over the 50 close and the 100 close. And what we see here is after these bull trends, these bull markets, which essentially are ultimately based off of the halving, when we have this 50 cross below, it's a bearish cross of the 100. This is what happens. We were at, essentially from this point on, we were very, very close to the bottom, right? Very close. Now what happens is all this stuff, it's not a logarithmic chart, so it looks massive. All this stuff happens, right? After we cross above again, right here is the point where we cross above. From this point to this point, this is there. 385 days occurs between here. Until this point, we were kind of in between 277 and 400, whatever. Nothing insane. But once we flip this again, this is then a bullish flip after this bearish one. This bullish flip of the 50 over the 100 sent this through the roof. This is very simplified. Doing it again right here. We have this 50 crossing below. What happens? We were very close to the bottom, or perhaps the turnaround point. Because from that point on, we made a rally. We made a rally of, up at the top here, 316%. Right there. But the real stuff didn't happen yet, because we were still playing around, getting rejected until this flipped again. Granted, we had a weird event here with COVID. This was COVID. But once these flipped again, look what happened. And the time period between these two, this time, so instead of 300 some days, oops, why did it do that? Don't want that. Go back. Oh! Sorry. Indicators. MA. There we go. MA. Sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. $50 settings. All right. So we're trying to measure this move. Gosh, this was approximately 294 days, so slightly less than the previous. Now, what is about to happen right here? Let me check into the live stream really quick. There we go. What's happening right here is, again, this bearish cross of the 50 below the 100. This just printed right here. While at the same time, the RSI is doing very interesting things as well. If we continue this line, let's just assume it does something like this. And we will take ourselves right now from this cross. Remember, the last two times it was about just over 300 days and then just below 300. So if we went out that far, let's say 300. At that point, we would start crossing this. Again, actually, that is too sharp. I'm just showing you. We were going to cross this again. Say we rally up to, $27,000, $28,000, whatever. We could be trading inside of this channel, right? That's what I'm trying to show you. Until these two start to cross again. So it would do this. This moving average would drop, and then it would come back up and cross this one again. And so that is right now, I think, what we are potentially doing in the market. We could have potentially seen the bottom just because of this powerful indicator. Another thing that we could be doing is just chopping around and drop it. If we drop below this level right here, it's very likely that we go to around 13.7 from this point over the next couple of months. But if we keep on finding support here and start flipping some resistances, then this is potentially just going to be a little bit of an accumulation zone before we head up in March or April time of this coming year, 2023. So that is my macro view of the market right now. If we take a percentage gain from this point up to the top, this is Bitcoin. I don't trade Bitcoin a whole lot, but this is a 271% gain to get us above the previous all-time high. Say that happens in 3 years, 2 or 3 years, then you are almost hitting a 100% increase every single year. So that is just something you can't ignore, because it happens time and time again in history with this and with the way people trade. It is very cyclical. So don't sleep on it. But better yet, don't sleep on this, because this is a huge project. Cardano, just do some research if you want to. But we have 597.48% to go up from here, baby. Oh, man. All right. We are back. Keep doing those experiments. What was useful to you will be to others. Some viral and interacting similar channels may boost them out of ideas. Need sleep. Some viral vids come and interacting with similar channels may boost them. Yeah, I've heard that comment a lot. A lot of people have said that if you interact with other channels, the problem is I just don't have time to do all the commenting and stuff. Thanks for all your efforts. Thank you. I think we just about wrap it up for the night. It was a good talk. If you've got any other questions, comments, or subjects, drop it down below and we will chat. If not, this is like our 3-minute call. So if you've got questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the chat. We'll talk about it. We'll get it answered. Doesn't have to be about gardening. That's the fun thing. You get to choose whatever Ripley talks about. Otherwise, I rant and talk and talk and talk. And talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. I hope the stream quality is okay tonight. I do hope you all are having an incredible day and have safe weekends. I think the weekend's going to be good. Do. I want to play like some old school James Bond or something. That'd be fun. Sometimes I try so hard to make sure there's no dead space in the stream. Are you using a camera? No. It's just our computer monitor. Here's Kate. All right. No, Michael, just using the MacBook, whatever this is. This is an iMac. I don't know, a newer one. Each year, my wife and I, as part of like the business, we invest in something. We bought a computer, we bought a drone, we bought a camera. Stuff like that helps out. I have to use the drone more often, though. I really do. All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to the live stream tonight. It wasn't per schedule, so understand if you weren't able to catch it. But I hope you all are having a great day. Don't forget to plant your fall vegetables, ladies and gentlemen, and take care of your house plants every other week.